The single mom thought she was getting a bargain when she hired Jake for $20 an hour. But when her abusive ex-husband showed up with threats, she realized this handyman's real job wasn't fixing her house. It was keeping her family safe from a danger she never saw coming. Sarah Mitchell stood in her kitchen, looking at the bills in her hand. Electric bill $340, water bill $89, daycare fee $280. The money left in her pocket was $127. And now the front door hinge was broken. The security lock wasn't working. The safety of the house was in danger. 32-year-old Sarah had made the hardest decision of her life 2 years ago. She had divorced her abusive husband Derek and was trying to stand on her own feet with her 6-year-old daughter Lily. She worked as a nurse, but her part-time position barely covered their expenses. She couldn't get alimony from Derek. The man constantly changed jobs, never showed official income. Court orders were useless. In fact, last month, Derek had called and threatened Sarah. "That child is half mine. I can take her whenever I want." Sarah's mother was in another city. Her father had passed away. She had friends, but they all had their own problems. That's why Sarah had to handle everything alone. When Lily came home from school, she asked about the door. "Mom, why is the door like this? Aren't we going to fix it?" Sarah tried to smile at her daughter. "We'll fix it, sweetie. We just need to wait a bit." But in reality, Sarah was very worried. With the door broken, she didn't feel safe at home, especially after Derek's last phone conversation. There was that familiar anger in the man's voice. Sarah knew that anger very well. That evening, after Lily went to sleep, Sarah looked at cheap handyman ads on Craigslist. Most were asking for $50, $80. Sarah's budget was maximum $30. Finally, she saw an ad at the bottom. Home repairs, electrical, plumbing, reasonable prices. Jake, 555-0147. No price was mentioned, but the word reasonable gave hope. Sarah decided to call the number. The phone rang 3 times before a deep, calm male voice answered. "Jake." "Hello, I saw your ad on Craigslist. Could I ask about the price for door repair?" "What type of problem?" Sarah explained the situation. "Hinge broken, lock not working, door not closing properly. I can look tomorrow morning. $20 if no materials needed." Sarah almost dropped her phone. "Only $20? A bit more if materials are needed, but I need to look first." "Okay, tomorrow morning works." Sarah gave the address and hung up. There was a strange relief inside her. Maybe things were starting to get better. The next morning at 9 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Sarah was getting Lily ready for school when she paused. Who could be coming this early? When she opened the door, she saw a man of about 35, medium height, dark-haired. Simple clothes, clean appearance, a small tool bag in his hand. His most striking feature was his eyes. Very calm, but eyes that didn't miss any detail. "Jake," the man said, "for the door repair." "Oh yes, welcome. I'm Sarah." Jake came in and went straight to the door. Without speaking, he examined the hinges, tested the lock, checked the door frame. His way of moving was very professional. "Mom, I'm going to be late for school," Lily said from the hallway. Sarah got flustered. "I'm coming right away, sweetie." Jake turned and saw Lily. The little girl was looking at him curiously. "Hello," Jake said in a soft voice. "You must be Lily." Lily was surprised. "How do you know me?" "Your mom mentioned you. What are you learning at school?" "Math and science. I don't like math, but science is really cool." Jake smiled. "I used to love science too, especially physics." As Sarah watched this conversation, she felt relieved. It was nice to see how Jake talked to children, how respectful he was. "Lily, let's go to school. Mr. Jake will be working here. Just Jake is fine," the man said. "I'll wait here." As Sarah and Lily left the house, Lily whispered, "Mom, this man seems nice." Sarah was thinking the same thing. When Sarah returned from work, the door had been completely renewed. Not just the hinge, but a new security lock, door chain, and peephole had been added. Jake was packing his bag when Sarah looked at the door in amazement. This is incredible, but I only asked for hinge repair." "The door's security was insufficient," Jake said. "There was no material cost. I had it on hand. But $20 is too little for this much work. Let me give you at least $50. Jake shook his head. "The price I quoted, $20. Sarah had never seen such a craftsman before. "Why do you work so cheaply?" Jake paused for a moment. "Everyone has the right to be safe." This answer pleased Sarah, but also aroused curiosity. Jake's way of speaking, his manner of movement, wasn't like an ordinary handyman. If you have any other problems, you can call, Jake said as he left. That evening, Lily was testing the door. Mom, this lock is very strong. Bad guys can't get in anymore. Sarah looked at her daughter. What bad guys, Lily? I don't know, but sometimes I hear sounds at night. I think someone is in the yard. Sarah's heart stopped. When? Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want to upset you, but now we have a new door. I'm not scared. That night, Sarah checked the windows. There were no traces in the yard, but Lily's words had worried her. Children were usually right about these things. 3 days later, Derek called. Sarah regretted answering the phone as soon as she picked up. Sarah, I want to see my daughter. Derek, there's a court order. You have supervised visitation rights, but I know the court order, but I've changed now. I found a job, got a new apartment. Sarah didn't believe Derek's words. What job? Construction. Good pay. Can I take Lily on weekends? No, Derek. You threatened me just 2 months ago. Lily's safety. Safety? Derek's voice hardened. I'm her father. You can't take her from me. Derek, please. I'm coming Saturday. I'm taking Lily, and you can't stop me. The phone hung up. Sarah had started trembling. Derek's attitude was not good at all. That evening, Sarah called Jake. Jake, Sarah, there are some electrical problems in the house. Could you take a look? Sure. Should I come tomorrow morning? If possible today. It's kind of urgent. I'll be there in an hour. When Jake arrived, he immediately noticed that Sarah was tense. Where's the electrical problem? Sarah was a bit embarrassed. Actually, there's no electrical problem, but I want to ask you something. Jake waited. Do you also deal with security matters? Like home security? Jake's posture changed. More careful, more professional. What kind of threat is there? Sarah told him about Derek. History of violence, threats, wanting to take Lily. Have you thought about going to the police? I did. They said there's nothing they can do since he hasn't committed a crime yet. I just have to wait. Jake thought for a long time. I can do some security checks in the house. No extra charge. Really? Thank you so much. Jake stayed in the house for 3 hours that evening. He checked all the windows, examined the yard, installed door and window alarms. He placed motion sensors. These systems give audio warnings, he said, showing Sarah. If someone tries to enter the yard, you'll hear it. Where did you find all this equipment? Left over from previous jobs, Jake said. I used to work for a security company. Sarah felt a bit relieved. Now she understood why Jake was so professional. But Jake wasn't telling the whole truth yet. Friday night, Sarah couldn't sleep. Derek saying he would come Saturday wouldn't leave her mind. At midnight, there was a slight sound from the yard. The alarm didn't go off, but Sarah carefully looked out the window. She saw a shadow under the street lamp. Someone was standing away from the house, watching it. Sarah picked up the phone and called Jake. Jake? Sarah, there's someone in the yard. Where do you see them? By the street lamp. They're not moving. Stay away from the windows. I'm coming. But it's midnight. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Jake hung up. Sarah checked Lily's room without going near the windows. The girl was in deep sleep. Exactly 8 minutes later, she heard a soft doorbell. Sarah cracked the door open. Jake was there, but he looked very different this time. Black clothes, boots, a bag attached to his belt. His way of moving had also changed, quieter, more controlled. Is the person still there? Sarah looked out the window. I can't see them anymore. Jake went out the back door without making any sound. He returned 15 minutes later. Someone was there, but they ran away. They left footprints. Sarah was scared. Was it Derek? I can't tell, but you need to be more careful tomorrow. Jake stayed in the house that night. He slept on the living room couch, but Sarah never saw him actually sleeping. He was constantly awake, constantly listening. When Lily woke up in the morning and saw Jake, she was surprised. Jake? Are you here? Yes, I was checking some things in your mom's house. Great, will you stay for breakfast with us? Jake looked at Sarah. Sarah nodded. At breakfast, Lily was telling Jake about school. Jake was listening carefully, asking questions. Sarah saw how good Jake was with children. Jake, do you have children? Sarah asked. Jake paused for a moment. No, but I love children very much. Sarah felt there was a story behind this answer, but she didn't have the courage to ask. Saturday afternoon, Derek came. Before Sarah opened the door, she looked at Jake. Jake was sitting in the kitchen, pretending to read a book. but Sarah knew he could hear everything. Derek. Sarah, I came to take Lily. There's supervised visitation in the court order, Derek. She needs to stay here. Derek tried to push the door and enter. I'm her father. Derek, you need to leave. At that moment, Derek saw Jake in the kitchen. Who's this? Do you have a man staying in your house now? That's none of your business, Derek. Derek approached Jake. Who are you? Jake stood up. Derek was 6'1", but there was such coldness in Jake's posture that Derek stepped back. I'm a handyman, Jake said in a calm voice. A handyman, huh? Derek's voice was mocking. Are you Sarah's new boyfriend? Derek, Sarah intervened. Get out of here. Derek got even closer to Jake. Don't interfere. This is our family matter. Jake didn't move at all. He just looked at Derek. But that look, Sarah had never seen such a look. Cold, calculating, dangerous. When Derek saw that look, he stepped back. This isn't over, Sarah. Lily is my daughter. I'm going to take her. Derek slammed the door hard as he left. Sarah was trembling. Jake approached her. Are you okay? Yes, but Derek wouldn't act like this. Very aggressive. He used to try to intimidate, but was never this threatening. Jake looked at Derek's car from the window. I noted his license plate. I need to gather information about this man. What do you mean? I need to find out where Derek works, who he's meeting with. There's a reason for this behavior change. Sarah was surprised. Aren't you a handyman? Jake turned to her. There seemed to be nothing left to hide in his eyes. Sarah, I need to tell you something. That evening, after Lily went to sleep, Sarah and Jake were sitting at the kitchen table. Jake had a photograph in his hand. This is me, he said, showing the photograph to Sarah. In the photo was Jake in military uniform. Beside him were other soldiers equipped with weapons. Navy SEAL, Jake said. I served for 12 years. Sarah held her breath. Navy SEAL? Covert operations, rescue missions, high-risk assignments. Iraq, Afghanistan, other places. Sarah was still in shock. But why as a handyman? Because when I came home, I couldn't adapt. PTSD, depression, insomnia. When military life ended, I didn't know what to do. Jake looked out the window. I worked for a security company for a while, but big firms, rich guys, always protecting the powerful ones. I got tired. What do you do now? Small jobs. I help people who really need help, like you. Sarah looked up. Me, why? Jake was quiet for a while. Because you're real, not fake. You're ready to do everything for your daughter. Such people are rare. But I hired you. You didn't come by your own choice. Sarah, Jake smiled, do you think I answered your phone by chance that night? Do you think I had that security equipment by coincidence? Something suddenly came to Sarah's mind. You were watching us. No, I wasn't watching, but I was watching Derek. What? Jake leaned on the table. Derek was thrown out of a bar last month. He started a fight, harassed a woman. That woman called the police. A police report was filed. How do you know this? Because that woman is my friend's sister. She told me about Derek, a man with a history of violence who threatens his ex-wife. Sarah looked at Jake in shock. I researched Derek. I found your address, and I started waiting. Waiting? Waiting for Derek to harm you. But then I changed my mind. Instead of waiting for protection, I decided to take precautions. So you? Yes, Sarah, I was deliberately around you. I specifically put the handyman ad on Craigslist. I wanted to meet you before Derek attacked. Sarah stood up. Isn't this stalking? No, Sarah, this is protecting, but I didn't know this. Because if you knew, you wouldn't have allowed it. But Derek's chance of harming you and Lily was very high. Sarah was confused. Was she angry or grateful? She didn't know. Jake, this is very complicated. I know. But now Derek is back, and this time he's more dangerous. What do you mean? Jake took out his phone and showed Sarah a photo. I took this photo today in Derek's car trunk. In the photo were rope, electrical tape, and a stick. Sarah's knees trembled. He wants to. Yes, Sarah. Derek doesn't just want to hurt you, he wants to kidnap you and Lily. Monday night. Sarah couldn't sleep. What Jake had said wouldn't leave her mind. Those items in Derek's trunk, Sarah knew what Derek was capable of. At 2 a.m, the yard alarm went off. Sarah jumped and immediately texted Jake. Alarm is going off. The answer came immediately. Get Lily, lock yourselves in the bathroom, I'm coming. Sarah woke Lily up. The girl protested sleepily. Mom, what's happening? Shh, sweetie. We're playing a game. We're gonna hide in the bathroom. Sarah took Lily to the bathroom and locked the door. Then she called the police. 911, what's your emergency? There's a forced entry into my house. My address is... She couldn't finish speaking because she heard glass breaking downstairs. Derek had gotten inside. Sarah whispered to Lily, don't make a sound. No matter what happens, stay quiet. Derek's voice came from downstairs. Sarah, I know you're home. I'm taking Lily. Footsteps headed toward the stairs. Sarah's heart was beating wildly. Sarah, come out. If I have to find you by force, it'll be worse. Derek tried the bathroom door. Are you in here? At that moment, a completely different voice was heard. Deep, cold, threatening. Derek. Derek stopped. You? Where did you come from? Put your hands on your head. Turn around slowly. Who are you? This is my house. Don't you need permission to stay in this house? Sarah recognized Jake's voice, but she had never heard this voice. This was the voice of an officer giving commands in war. You? Are you that handyman? There was fear in Derek's voice. Yes, and you're a rapist who entered a house without permission. What? I'm not a rapist. Lily is my daughter. What were you planning to do with the rope in your trunk, Derek? Silence. Then Derek's panic could be heard. How did you, because I've been following you, Derek. Let me pass, I'm taking my daughter. No, Derek, now you're gonna talk to the police. Now you're gonna talk to the police. The sound of fighting came. Derek must have been trying to escape, but then a scream was heard and the sounds stopped. 5 minutes later, Jake knocked on the bathroom door. Sarah, it's Jake. You're safe. You can come out. When Sarah opened the door, she saw Jake. His clothes were a bit disheveled, but he was calm. Where's Derek? Downstairs, unconscious, police are on the way. Lily grabbed Sarah's skirt. Mom, is the bad man gone? Jake crouched down and looked into Lily's eyes. Yes, Lily, the bad man can't come anymore. You're a very brave girl. Are you a superhero, Jake? Jake smiled. No, I'm just someone who loves you. The next morning, police had taken Derek away. Forced entry, threats, kidnapping plan. Derek would be in prison for a long time. Sarah and Jake were drinking coffee in the kitchen. Lily was at school. Jake, Sarah said, last night, how did you come so fast? Because I never left the house. I was waiting in the neighbor's yard across the street. All night, for 3 days, I knew Derek was going to do something. Sarah shook her head. You really calculated everything. Sarah, I was a soldier. Planning was my job. But what happens now? Derek is in prison, but you. I what? Sarah was struggling. You're not a real handyman. You're a Navy SEAL. You're from a different world than me. Jake turned to Sarah. Sarah, I came to protect you from Derek, but now I want to stay for a different reason. What reason? Because I fell in love with you and Lily. Sarah was surprised. With me? Yes, since our first phone conversation, there was that fragility in your voice, but also strength. Then I saw your bond with Lily. Sarah, you're an incredible woman, but I'm a single mom with little money with a troubled past. Sarah, stop. Jake reached out his hand. You're perfect, exactly as you are. Jake thought, I don't know, Lily. What's a superhero? Someone who catches bad guys, protects good people. Then yes, I'm a bit of a superhero, but do you know what my most important power is? What? Love. Love is the strongest superpower. Lily looked at her mother. Mom, do you have this power too? Sarah smiled. Yes, sweetie. We all do. That night, after Lily went to sleep, Sarah and Jake were sitting on the terrace. Jake, Sarah said, I want to tell you something. Yes? I fell in love with you. Jake turned and looked at her. Really? Yes, I love you. Your courage, your honesty, your love for Lily, I love everything about you. Jake stood up and knelt in front of Sarah. Sarah Mitchell, you made me very happy. These months I spent with you and Lily were the most beautiful days of my life. He took a small box out of his pocket. Sarah, will you marry me? Sarah's eyes filled. Jake, yes. Of course, yes. Jake hugged her. I love you so much. Sarah, with everything. I love you too, for protecting us, for my security, for being a father to Lily. A year later, they had a small wedding, just close friends and colleagues. Lily was the bridesmaid. She was very proud. Derek was still in prison. Sarah was no longer afraid of him. Thanks to Jake, she had become strong. On their wedding night, Jake said to Sarah, you know, the night you first called me, my life changed. How so? Until that day, I was just trying to survive, dealing with PTSD, trying to forget my past, but you gave me purpose. Not to you, Jake. You were already a good person. You just needed to find the right place. The right place is you, Sarah. You and Lily. Sarah hugged him. We found you too, Jake, right when we needed you. That night, Lily came to them. Mom, Jake, I'm very happy. Now we're a real family. Yes, sweetie, Sarah said, and we'll stay that way forever. Jake lifted Lily into his arms. Lily, you gave me the most precious gift. What? You taught me to be a father, and that's the most beautiful gift in the world. 5 years later, Sarah and Jake's security company had become one of the city's most respected firms. They had protected hundreds of women from violence, giving them a chance to build new lives. Lily was now 11 years old and saw Jake as her real father. She didn't even remember Derek. Jake's PTSD had completely healed. Sarah's love and Lily's joy had made him human again. One day, Jake said to Sarah, "Sometimes I think, what if I hadn't come to protect you that night?" You would have come, Sarah said. Because you're a good person, Jake. You always would have come. How do you know? Because real heroes always come, and you're a real hero. Jake smiled. Then you're my hero too, because you saved me. We saved each other, Jake. That's how families are formed. That evening, while the three were eating dinner together, Lily said, Jake, yesterday at school, the teacher asked, she said, "What's your father's job?" And I said, "He saves people." That's a beautiful answer, Jake said. But then I thought, you don't just save strangers, you saved our family. Sarah and Jake looked at each other. Lily, Sarah said, "You're a very smart girl." I got it from my mom, Lily said, laughing. As Jake watched them, a warmth filled him. He had come face to face with death in battlefields for years, but had found real peace in this house. Sometimes the biggest wars are fought in our homes. Sometimes the biggest victories are won with love. Jake had learned this. Sarah had also learned that sometimes life's best gifts come at the most unexpected moment. She was looking for a cheap handyman. She found a guardian angel. And Lily now knew that her father was a real superhero. But she had also learned that his most important superpower was love. This story wasn't just Sarah's story. This was Jake's healing story. This was Lily's story of finding a safe home. But most of all, this was the story of three people who came from different wounds, forming a complete family together. Because sometimes our family is formed not by blood ties, but by heart ties. Sarah, Jake, and Lily had proven this. And in that small house, every evening at dinner, when they remembered the memory of that broken door from the day Jake first came, they would laugh. That door was no longer just the house door. That door was the door to a new life. And Jake hadn't just repaired it. He had opened it to security. The real end of the story was this. Sometimes the people who come into our lives come as handymen, but they are actually angels who repair our hearts. The biggest lesson Sarah learned was this. Real love doesn't just happen in romantic movies. Real love sometimes comes with a hammer, screwdriver, and strong arms ready to protect you. And the lesson Jake learned, no medal he won on the battlefield was as valuable as Sarah's smile and Lily saying, "Dad." In conclusion, this wasn't just a protection story. This was the story of three hearts coming together to form a perfect family.